Hey, it's Alzay Calhoun with Covenant Consultant. We're here with this week's Facebook Live, and I am excited about today. There is content all over the place. I've got an agenda for what it is I want to talk about today. There are a number of really good questions that I'm looking at here in the group. There's a lot going on. I'm going to do my very best to stay focused, to stay linear, to stay step by step, to stay on target. If you've got questions along the way, please post those questions and we'll get to them, right? So, we'll hang out as long as we need to hang out here. But I do want to make sure that specific questions get a specific response, that we're not just talking in circles. So I see Emily. Hey, Emily. Hey, Nelson. If you're not in this Facebook group, you should be in the Facebook group. So wherever you are in the world, wherever you are, however you're watching this content now, whether it's a piece of this content or it's the whole thing rebroadcast or wherever, there's a Facebook group that is the source of this content. You should be in the group. We're having really good conversations. We're talking about business. We're not talking about hacks, special silver buttons to press, money that rains from the sky, how to make 7 figures in the next 20 seconds. We're not having those kinds of conversations. People in the group are actively trying to build a business. They are experiencing challenges along the way, and this group is serving as a support system for those challenges. One of the things, so most of the people in the group sell a marketing service in some way, typically digital marketing, SEO, PPC, content, website design, landing page creation, ad management, a variety of consulting services. There's a lot of stuff people sell in the group. But what we're all trying to get our hands around, get our head around, is how to productize a core service, sell that productized service at a premium, and make sure that our clients are happy at the end and that we are happy at the end, where it's always a good deal for both parties. Productized services sold at a premium that are good for both the client and the business owner. So that's our core conversation. So the group is fun. We're all having a good time learning, developing, connecting, and doing all those kinds of good things. I also realize, though, at some part of the conversation, some point in your journey, you want a little less dialogue and you want a little bit more step-by-step answer. You want a little bit more roadmap to success. And if that's what you want, that's what the program is designed to do. There are 3 core systems that I believe should exist inside of an agency: client acquisition, client service, client retention. There are 3 core systems: client acquisition, client service, client retention. And what we do inside the program is focus specifically on how to do each of those 3 things, give those 3 things structure so they can be worked over and over and over again. So there's always cash flow inside your business. So the interaction is fun. The networking is fun, but sometimes you just want to get it fixed. And if it's time to fix it, if it's time to do it, there's a link up, down, left, right, somewhere around this video. Click that link, schedule some time, and so we can converse if the program that I have is a good fit for you. What I want to focus on today is a conversation that I particularly had, specific to me. I had a conversation that I think highlights a lot of things that are trouble spots in my client's business, that are trouble spots in your business, perhaps. The headline of today is, what do I do when the prospective client asks for references? I'm having a conversation, and the client asks me to send them some references, send them some examples, put them in touch with past clients. How do I respond to that? So this situation happened to me just the other day, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through that scenario so that we can appreciate it for what it is. And so while I'm setting that up, Emily, if you would trigger us for the first agenda point here. Before we even get into the story, here's kind of the conclusion that I want to make up front, right? I want to tell you where we're going up front. Is I believe that a lot of people like you, a lot of business owners like you, a lot of agency owners like you, are misinterpreting the conversation. a lot of what happens in your business, where you are, the services you sell, what you have planned, all your master plans come to rubber meets the road when you're talking to a prospective client. All of what you think is good, what you think is clever, what sounds really good, what your website said, all your experience and background and da-da-da-da-da, all that good stuff. Rubber meets the road when you're talking to a prospective client. And the quality of that conversation determines how good all that planning was. All that stuff you think about every day, all that whatever, all that comes to a bottom line when you're talking to a prospective client. And is your prospective client excited about engaging and moving forward in what you described, or have they just been lost, don't care, and choose to move on? I believe too many people like you are misinterpreting what happens in that conversation. When you dialogue with someone, you have an interaction, and they don't purchase, because many people don't purchase. When people don't purchase, when they don't say yes, when they don't decide to jump in, with both feet, what do you take from that? How do you interpret what happened? And I believe that most people misinterpret what happens in that conversation, and as a result, make poor decisions going forward. You make business decisions as a result of that conversation, and you end up making poor decisions. Now there's my summary. I just gave it to you. Let's walk through the actual scenario. So the question here is, what is the classic mistake that people make when they're having a conversation with a prospective client, right? Like what's the classic mistake? And Jack is telling me about technical difficulties. So Jack, what's the challenge before I go any further? Can you not hear me? Somebody tell me quickly what's happening in the what the breakdown is. Can you not hear me or not see me, or is it some mix? Okay, so no one said anything yet. Okay, so then we press on. And so I've got a couple of folks who said they can hear and see fine. All right, we press on. We press on. Okay. So this mistake, right? You misinterpret. So the core mistake here is you have a conversation, something happens that doesn't go your way, right? For whatever reason, it doesn't go your way. Number one, you misinterpret. You misinterpret what actually happened. Secondly, you misinterpret what you should do next. So you get the data wrong coming in, and then what you should do next, you get flip-flopped, right? So Emily, move us on. Move us on. Emily is gonna cue us up to the scenario that I'm talking about. So what I want to do here is present this as a standard scenario, because this scenario happens often, and we're gonna present it as it would happen to anybody, right? Because it's not about the individual conversation between this single person and I. It happens. It's a thing that happens. Okay. So this person requested a conversation. Booked a call, requested a conversation, booked a call, and on the phone together, we identify and diagnose some challenges inside her business. Okay, like we agree, like we're talking it through. We go, you know what? The real issue here is this. You can't move to that big goal because this thing is in the way. And in summary, there were too many things on her plate. As the business owner, as the lady who runs the agency, there were too many things that ended up back on her plate. Her phone was ringing too often. Her email inbox was always full. It's that classic story. Too many things on her plate, right? Too many things in her job description. So we are discussing how that can be resolved as it relates to her situation. What has to happen in her world to change that scenario? Great. So we have good conversation, etc. I point out that I've got this program, and there are things inside this program that specifically help her resolve those situations. We do this, that corrects that. We do this, that corrects that. We do this, that corrects that. We do that, right? All sounds good. So I asked, listen, is this something you want to be involved in? We got a group. We're doing it. We got a curriculum. It's flowing. Is this something you want to be involved in? She says yes. Sounds good to her. She was scheduled to get started on her scheduled date. Great. All fine. Okay. So then we hang up the phone, right? And we agreed that I was going to send her the confirmation details and all that kind of good stuff. So then I do that, right? We hang up. I send it. So then I think it's about a day later, right? I hadn't gotten confirmation because we were getting to that date she said she was going to start. And I hadn't gotten confirmation. So I followed up. Hey, we had a conversation yesterday. Haven't gotten confirmation yet. Is this something you still want to do, right? A simple follow-up. No fancy sales stuff. Simple follow-up, right? So then she responds back and essentially says, hey, I've personal stuff going on, because we all do, right? A little delay because she's doing a lot of things. No harm, right? No harm. Doing a lot of things. But then she asks for 5 references. She says, Alzay, can I have 5 references of past clients that you've worked with? And because I want to schedule some time to speak with those people, basically, right? I want to talk to your past clients. Okay. So hearing the story where you are right now, wherever you are, however you're hearing this story, do you send the references? Yes or no? Right now, I'm asking you that. You can type a response in if you like, or you can you've already had a gut response at this moment. I've already asked the question. So in your gut, you've already had a response. But right now we're just pausing for a second so that you can think for yourself. Do you send the references? Do you send the contact information for your past clients so that a potential client can decide if they want to work with you or not? All right. So I'm getting a stream of no's, a stream of no's. Okay. So while we're reviewing that, Emily, give us the next question here, right? Now, because this could be a story, that Alzay tells a story, we all hear it, we all agree, yay, and then we all go back and do the same thing tomorrow. So what I'm trying to do, right, is for a second, is kind of pause and digest for a moment and think about what's happening in the conversation, right? What's really going on? Let's interpret it the correct way so we can make good decisions going forward. That's always the point. Make a better decision going forward, build a better business going forward. So yeah. All right. So I'm looking at it. Right. So the next agenda item here is, how do most people respond when they get the request for references? So there are 2 basic tracks. There are 2 typical tracks, right? One is, and I'm going to say it the ugly way. One way is to lay down and just ask and just send them what they asked you for. If that's what they want, we'll just send it. Fine. They get the contact. Just send them some names, send them June, send them April's information, send them Jack's information, send them Robert's information, and just go forward, right? You just move on. You just kind of lay down, right? The other is you get belligerent and you say, no, of course not. Absolutely not. How dare you, right? So on one route, you lay down, right? On the other route, you get judgmental. Let's slow down. Okay. So it's not just a matter of why not just a matter of whether you send the references or not, but it's a matter of why. Why don't you send those references? If you choose not to, because either or could be good answers. I've got my point of view. We're gonna get to that in just a moment. But it's not a matter of either or could be fine. But why? If you choose to send it, why? If you choose not to send it, why? Okay. So let's think about the practicality of the request. The request is to send references, right? And in this case, she asked for 5. So what do I have to do inside my business? What would you have to do inside your business? Now you've got to go. I got to go into my client roster. I've got to choose 5 people for her to speak with. I've got to send her the information on those people, and I can't just send her like name and email. I got to send like name, email, phone. I've got to provide some short summary of their business so she knows who it is that she's going to be talking to, right? And I've got to let those 5 people know that a prospective client is going to speak or reach out. I have to prepare my past client on what conversation, I got to prepare them for whatever dialogue is about to take place with this prospective client. So that's a lot of work that I have to do inside my business in order to fulfill the request. Let's go one step further. So now the prospective client of mine, as I'm trying to fulfill the request, has to execute on what I send. So I send the 5 names and data and all that kind of good stuff. I guess in an email, you send it off. So what does the prospective client now do? So they take the information and they review it, and are they going to actually call all 5 people? Are they going to actually schedule 5 different conversations? And what's going to happen in those conversations? Like what's going to happen? Like, what are they going to actually talk about? Are they going to talk about the right stuff, or are they just going to chit chat for a while? And, a past client of mine, any information that I send, they're probably going to be happy with the services that I offer. So they're going to be more or less, if you want to be in the program, get in the program. I mean, that's pretty much what they're going to summarize down to. Same way for the folks you've served, right? If you've served them, they're happy clients. They're going to be like, listen, so-and-so is great. Just get involved. If you want to do it, right? That's going to be pretty much where that prospective client is going to come from. So what's the quality of that conversation? Okay, let's go deeper. So if that's whatever conversation they have, they got to take time to schedule 5 conversations. That can be 2 days, that could be 5 days, that could be 3 weeks. Because remember, everybody's got their own business, right? I've got my own business. The prospective client has their business. My past clients have their own business. So we got to find time to schedule all these conversations. Okay, so all that gets done. So what happens when all those conversations finally take place? Let's say all 5 happen, all 5 are great. At what point do I talk to that prospective client again in order to confirm or deny or enter or not enter or begin work or not begin work? When does that conversation actually happen? Okay, so now that I'm talking through this, right, and you can see this, and for some folks, this is intuitive. You knew this already, but just take time for a second and appreciate the amount of effort that has to take place to make good on that request. Okay, so now let's get to the bottom line of that. So after all of that interaction has taken place, is her problem, the prospective client, is her problem solved? No. All she's had is a series of conversations. She's talked to me. She's talked to past clients. It's a whole lot of conversing that's happened, right? But is her problem solved? No. Does the information that she's received from me, from all these past clients, does it help her make a decision about solving her problem? I don't think so. A lot of conversation, but does it help her make a decision? Because that's the point, right? Business owner to business owner, me to you, got to make a decision. And I don't know if that helps her make a decision. Lots of information. I don't know. So getting down to, do you send the references or not? My core philosophy is, does everything I do, these videos, these YouTube videos, the Facebook group, all this stuff, these Facebook lives, when I'm on the phone talking to prospective clients, all those efforts that I put forward in my own business, do they help clients make a decision to solve their problem? And if the answer is no, then we don't do them. I don't care what the ask is. Make more content, make less content, do more webinars, do less webinars, have more conversations, have less conversations, call me on Friday, don't call me on Friday. Whatever the interaction is, does it help you make a decision in order to solve your problem? And if the answer is no, then I don't do it. I don't do it. I don't recommend that my clients do it. And for those who are considering becoming clients, I persuade them against efforts that don't help them make a decision about solving their problem. So in my world, when someone asks for references, no, I don't send references. No, I don't, because of all of what I just described to you. It's goofy to deliver. So it's goofy on my end, takes precious time of mine to put it all together. It's goofy on the person who requests end, because now they got to take information from people who they don't know, call them up, interact a bunch of times, maybe get what they need, maybe don't, and then they got to come back around to me again and discuss again. It's goofy for all involved. It's inefficient for all involved. So no, we don't send references. Okay, now, Emily, next agenda item, please. So considering that, and oh, by the way, someone posted something. Right, great. Right, next year, maybe. Right, how many times does you want to kick? Right on. Okay, all right, good. Okay, so right, I've already addressed. So the current question here is do I choose to give the references? No, and I just explained in long detail why. In my business, the answer is always no. In my business, the answer is always no, but I explained specifically why. Not because I'm smart or because I'm whatever, I'm established, whatever, bullcrap. No, because it doesn't help you solve your problem. Sending you more information is not going to help you solve your problem. So let's talk about what actually is required to help you solve your problem and decide together if now's the right time. So now we've got this next question, right? So how should I appropriately interpret the request? Okay, so I said, right, let's slow down here. So how do I appropriately interpret the request? What's going on when someone asks for references? What's actually happening in that conversation? Okay, there's two basic routes you can go down. We already talked about that. You can just kind of lay down and send them whatever they wanted, or you get belligerent, right? Okay, we all know that laying down. If you've seen any comment or any content from me, I don't do the lay down thing. I believe you should be the expert in the room. I believe you should assert yourself as the expert, and we don't just do one-off requests because someone asks. That's not helpful for anybody. So the whole lay down and just give them what they want, you knew that I wasn't going for that one from the very beginning. But the other one, the other line where you get belligerent, where you get judgmental, and you say, why would she ask me that? Like, come on, you got to be kidding. Listen, you know you can't do your website. You know you can't generate more leads. You know you don't know how to do content. You know you can't create more video. You know you can't hook up Active Campaign, Aweber, ConvertKit, lead pages. You know you can't do all that stuff. Why are you bothering me about referrals and references and testimonials and case studies? How dare you, prospective client? How dare you? You get offended, right? You get offended because someone has asked you to, frankly, do more work to earn their business. Okay. What I want to submit to you is that that's actually not what's happening. What I want to suggest to you is that that's actually not what's occurring. So that attack that you feel, that feel of being threatened, that feeling of being devalued, perhaps, what you bring to the table being devalued, that's actually not what's happening. I want to remind you when you're having that conversation, that interaction is not about you. That interaction is about who you're talking to. It's about the prospective client, and that prospective client trying to figure out how to get done what they want to get done. They're not invested in working with you. They don't care about working with you. They care about fixing their problem. They care about getting the issue in their world out of their world. That's what they care the most about. And they're just trying to navigate the process the best way they know how to navigate the process. I've said this before. You can't get mad at the client for being a client. If the client knew what to do, they'd be doing it already. They would already be fixing their own problem if they knew what to do. If they had your level of expertise, they would have resolved it already. They would have fixed it already. So they're talking to you because they don't know how to fix it. They're talking to you because it's over their head. They're talking to you because it's just too complex. They're They're talking to you because specifically digital marketing has way too many things going on. They don't want to learn all that junk. That's why they're talking to you. So, of course, they're asking for referrals, references, case studies, testimonials, because what they want is safe passage to their desired end result. What they want is safe passage. So the lady who I was speaking to, what she was trying to get was certainty, some form of guarantee that being in my program and working with me in this environment that I've created is going to take her where she wants to go. And she believes that by asking for references, that was going to give her the certainty. My job as the expert in the room, my job as the expert in this particular conversation is to be clear that that information will not get her what she wants. So she can ask for it. She's welcome to ask for it. But that information won't give her what she wants. It won't solve her problem. And my job is to speak to her with that level of clarity. My job is to speak to her with that level of respect. My job is to speak to her with that level of care. Not to preach to her and you know, do a 30-minute whatever and tell her about how not smart she is. And my job is also not to defend my expertise. So my job is not to start describing how long I've been in business. My job is not to refer her to my extensive YouTube channel where I have multiple subscribers. She doesn't care. My job is not to tell her about this awesome Facebook group where we're having great conversations and we solve problems every day. She doesn't care. So no need for me to get defensive about where I'm coming from with my solution, with my offering. No need to get defensive about what she's asking. My job is to redirect both of our energy back to the crucial point, which is, does this help you decide about solving your problem? And if it does, let's do it. Let's do it right now. Let's do it right now aggressively. If it doesn't, then we should do something else. So did I follow up? Absolutely. And what I said was a very short version of what I'm saying to you now. Is it basically, frankly, she already had testimonials and case studies. She already had them, that she already had access to them. So I referred her back to the information she already had. And I said, look, there are some things that we already talked about that we know are happening, A, B, and C. I want to help you resolve A, B, and C. And I'm happy to discuss those A, B, and C issues in another conversation if you'd like to do that. But you have to decide if you want to do that. And then she can decide what she wants to do about her problem. So to close that out, and by the way, if you disagree with what I'm saying, if you've got a point of view about what I'm saying, if you got a question about what I'm wrapping up right now, please post that in the comments below, and we'll address those. But let me bring this home by saying the following: we don't argue with clients. We don't argue with clients. So if you and your client disagree, disagreements are completely appropriate. Disagreements are fine. There's nothing wrong with good dialogue and getting to a better place. But we don't argue. We don't yell. We don't scream. We don't get all flustered and frustrated. We don't berate clients. It's not necessary. It's unnecessary, right? So we don't argue. So if someone makes a request that you don't feel like it is appropriate, then just don't offer it. Don't honor the request. Just say no. We'll do something else instead. No, I don't think it's going to work for us. But we don't argue. Second is we don't get offended. We, us, me, and you inside your business. We don't get offended when a client doesn't know what we know. So when there are things in your business that you know how to do and your client doesn't know how to do those same things, we don't get offended at the client for that. We don't get mad because they aren't an expert in what we're an expert in. We're the expert. You're the expert. We all know that. That's why they're talking to you. So getting offended doesn't help you, doesn't help them, right? Okay, moving on. Third is we don't get mad when the prospective client doesn't do what we expect them to do. So we think they should ask this question next, and they don't ask it. We think they should do this thing next, and they don't do it. We don't get upset about that. But they don't, remember, they aren't the expert. They don't know how to lay all these things out. They don't have step by step for all this stuff. We don't get upset about that, okay? Fourth thing here is we don't push paper back and forth. So these conversations of, well, send me a document, send me a summary, send me a proposal, send me a this, send me a that, and we'll consider it. Send me this, and I'll get back to you. Send me a thing so I can review it with so-and-so. Send me a, send me a, send me a. We don't do that. Or vice versa, let me send you, let me send you, let me send. We don't do that. We don't push paper back and forth. It's a time waster. You know that. You know that. It's a time waster. It doesn't provide value in anybody's business, just pushing paper back and forth. But what everything I'm describing right now, with all of this, everything I'm describing requires you to have to level up. The way that you interact with your clients has to change now. The way that you describe your services has to change now. What you expect from prospective clients when they interact with you about getting services from you, see, that conversation changes now. What you demand of your clients when they say yes, so we can move forward aggressively. So your demands change now. Your requirements change now. Your standards change now. You've got to be more upfront. You've got to be more upfront. You've got to be more upfront with what's required to be successful. You've got to be more upfront with the kinds of clients you want to work with. You got to be more upfront with the things you know you can do inside your business. You got to be more upfront with how you plan to execute on those things. See, you've got to be more upfront. The client can't do it. Your current client can't do it. Your prospective client can't do it. Your past client can't do it. That's why you're the expert. You are the expert. So you've got to be more forthright. You got to be more forthcoming. You got to be more assertive, more direct. You got to communicate better with what it is that you plan to do, can do, and are prepared to promise to those you serve. And if you don't accept that challenge, then you get defaulted back into, let's keep talking about it. So let's send more paperwork. Let me ask for more confirmation. Let me ask for more documents, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so I'm getting some amens. I'm getting some insightfuls. I appreciate that. I'm glad you enjoyed the story. Again, if you got comments about that, questions about that, disagreements about what I just said, I'm unafraid. So please type those things here in the chat box here. To say everything I just said another way is, well, no, actually, first of all, every conversation I have in my business, every prospective client and current client, every conversation that I have in my business makes my business better. I look at my processes every time I talk to somebody, especially a prospective client. Every time I talk to a prospective client, I look at my processes again. How did they get on the phone with me? What was their experience? What information were they given? What do they know or not know? How did I set them up to be on the phone with me? Did we have a good conversation as a result of what I put in front of them? Is this a good process for me? Is this a good process for them? I do that audit every single time I talk to someone. Now, I don't always do that audit in the 45-minute version. I don't always spread all the papers out and re-script everything. That's not practical. I don't always do that. But I always take the reflective moment. And now I'm asking you, in your business, do you take the reflective moment? Every time you talk to a prospective client, do you honestly reflect on what happened to create that conversation? And what better job can you do to create better conversations? I'm telling you, as a result of the story that I just gave you, I've made some changes. Even though she said no, and she may never become a client, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Even though she said no, and even though I did not honor the request that she made, I look back at what I offered. I look back at how that thing flowed out, and there's some improvements that I can make. And so I'm making them. Actually, I've made them. That's my job as someone who runs a business, to get better every single time. That's your job in your business, to get better every single time. You can't just throw your hands up and blame the client for being, those clients. You may have heard the phrase before, if it wasn't for these customers, we could make more money. Think about that for a second. If it wasn't for these customers, we could make more money, right? The customers are the money. Their interactions that is the cash flow. So you got to get better about having those interactions. All right. So now, so moving on from that, to kind of give that a crystallized idea, you can design these problems out of your business. You don't have to accept poor conversations, because sometimes you do have poor conversations. It didn't feel good to you or to the person you were talking to. You just got to get better. You can design that out of your business. Sometimes you get poor arrangements, poor clients. What didn't feel good to you, didn't feel good to the client you were serving. You got to do that better. You can design that out of your business. And there's all kinds of other little small things as well. All of those things, you can design them. You can put a better process in front of you, a better process in front of your employees, a better process in front of your clients, a better process in front of your vendors, where everybody's working together to create a better end result. But none of that will happen unless you design it. You have to design it. It's an intentional, thoughtful process. And we can go with the hack of the day if we want. Marketing hack this, growth hack that, do this ads, do those ads, native this, content marketing that, whatever. Who leads the business? You do. Whose business is it? It's yours. You got to step back and design something better. The program that I have is designed to give you that reflective space, to give you an environment where you can think back, step back, think about your business as you really want it, the core issues, client acquisition, client service, client retention, and design those things as you actually want them to be. And then now you can move forward aggressively. So whether you're starting from scratch and you're trying to create a new agency, or you have an agency, but you just want to get more out of your effort, there is no hack for that. You got to lead it. You got leadership. I don't know any other way of saying it. Okay. So questions, comments about that, go for it. There are a couple of things. Some people gave some really good questions prior to today's Facebook Live, and I want to just shoot those really fast, because some of them can have kind of short responses. So Raju asked, how to sell explainer video service or video marketing. And how to sell, right? How to sell my services. That's the question, right? How do I sell my services? And so I can't tell you how many times I get that question. I used to get it in email all the time. Alzay, how do I sell blank services? How do I get clients for blank services? Okay. So I want to say to Raju, like I've said 100 times, you got to design a process for that. So selling my services is hard. It's much easier to solve someone's problem. That's much easier to bend someone's ear about. So just because you do video marketing doesn't mean that somebody else cares about it. Video marketing solves a problem solves a problem specifically inside their business. And you got to design how you get clients. You got to design how you deploy that service, and you got to design how you retain those clients for the long term. So I don't have, maybe somebody else does, but I don't have some silver bullet 30-second response to how do I sell my services, because, how do I run my business? I don't have a short one for that, but I want to be direct about that, because a lot of folks think that's the silver bullet question. How do I sell my services? Oh, just ABC. It's not just ABC. Client acquisition, client service, client retention. You got to think deliberately about those. Jason asked. So Jason asked, this is really a really good question that a lot of folks wish they knew how to ask. So Jason asks, how do I catch the attention of firms that have just received between $2 million and $20 million in venture capital funding? And so what Jason is talking about here are funded startups, right? How do I contact funded startups? And Jason, I don't know if you know or not, but there are actually databases that exist of funded startups. There are established databases that are maintained on a regular basis that tell you what kind of company, that tell you what kind of company, what round of funding that they're in. Sometimes you can get some contact information. Sometimes you got to chase that down and go get that. Oh, credibility factors. Oh, okay. Well, so Jason, so you know how to find them. All right, cool. So, you know what, Jason? Good news is, I think you already know the answer. I think for you in your situation. So Jason, from what I understand about his business, sells outsourced is an outsourced sales department, right? So it's about solving the problem, right? A lot of funded startups are trying to aggressively grow. So for a funded startup, it's not about getting a client or 2 or 3. Typically, it's about getting a client of 10 or 20 or of 100 or 200. So for them, they're trying to aggressively grow, right? That's why they got funded, because there was a growth target that they're trying to hit. I appreciate it, right? So Jason this is called picking my brain, right? Which is a phrase I don't like, but so those companies are trying to grow at an aggressive clip. And so that's their problem. Their problem is growing at an aggressive clip. You got to be able to speak the language of growing at an aggressive clip. So whatever you offer them has got to be a scalable solution. It can't just be, I'll show you how to close one client. That's not going to get it. You've got to have a system where you can step into that business and give them real growth targets. If we follow the following things, we can make 100K and then $500,000 and then 2 million. And then, like, you got to be able to speak that language. So if you can't speak that language, you probably shouldn't be talking to those kinds of clients. So Jason, if I missed something in that, please respond again. But that's a good question. A lot of folks out there that want to talk to funded startups, but one, they don't know how to find them, and two, they don't know how to have that conversation. They don't know how to have that conversation. Talking to funded startups, it can be done. It is doable, but you got to level up, man. You got to come to that scenario like a professional. You can't just wing it. They don't buy SEO, for example. You can't just sell them SEO. You can't just sell them video marketing. You can't just sell them whatever. Thank you, Robin. I appreciate it. So Robin's getting value from today. All right, what else we got here? All right. So Michelle asked the question, how do I strategize ways to manage myself as a one-woman enterprise? Within 24 hours, right? So Michelle's asking, she's saying, I'm a one-person show, I'm a one-woman show, and I only have 24 hours in a day. How do I manage all these tasks that have to get done in a day? Here's the simplest way I can help you frame all the tasks that are happening in your day. There are things that are specifically client acquisition. There are tasks that are specifically client service. There are tasks that are specifically client retention. And I bet if you look at what you do during the day, that you'll find that tasks fit squarely in one of those buckets. Like, I do this task because I'm trying to acquire clients. I do this task because I want to serve clients better. I do this task because I want to retain clients. So immediately bucket those tasks. If you list them out, they will bucket themselves. Put them in buckets. Okay. Now prioritize them. Some of those tasks you do, they're like one-off tasks that, they sound clever, but you don't really like to do them. Well, they sound clever, but they don't really provide any real return. So they get deprioritized. You'll find that amongst client acquisition, client service, and client retention, there are things that are most important. When you sort them out, there are things that are most important. Do those every day. The most important tasks of those 3 topics should be done every day. And if you do those things every day, you'll find 2 things that happen. Number one, you'll be thinking about fewer things in the day. You'll feel less mentally crunched because you'll be doing fewer things every day. Just that alone will give you some sanity. Number 2 is because you're focused on the most important things inside your business, acquisition, service, and retention, then you'll get momentum. You'll actually start to get momentum in your business. Things will begin to move more quickly. Right? Better clients, bigger clients, etc. We'll start to show up. But as I've said 100 times today in this Facebook Live, you got to make some choices. You've got to make some choices. There is no magic daily planner thing. You got to decide what's important and what's not. Okay. So Nelson asked a question about using endorsements from other marketers. And basically with Nelson, I had to get some clarity. Nelson was asking about basically all the things you do to raise your status in the marketplace. So you do interviews and podcasts and, you write books. We can extend to writing books and there's all these other things you can do to kind of raise your status, right? Be on podcasts, write guest posts. You can have people, other folks can write you testimonials. Okay, all of that, right? You know, branding, branding things, right? Branding is not one of my favorite words because most folks don't know what they're talking about. It's a very non-concrete conversation. Branding. Okay. So what I would say to Nelson, and I say to anybody else, is what are you going to use that stuff for? So if you go on 4 interviews, if you write 19 guest posts, if you do it, what's the usefulness in your business? Where does that go? We talk about processes, right? Having things designed the way you want. So if they're designed how you want, where does the interview go? Does it go there? Does it go there? Or is it a task you think you should be doing because it looks good? There are a lot of tasks that we think we should be doing because they look good, and they don't actually turn the wheel. So that's what it's kind of a rhetorical question, but I think it will immediately put things in context for you. If I get so many interviews, if I do so many podcasts, if I write so many guest post articles, if I get 1935 testimonials from all these great people tomorrow, what value does that have in my business? What metric in my business does that change? What number changes because I got all that stuff? And if you don't know the answer to that, skip it. All right, here we go. Let's see what else we got. Got it. So I'm glad, Jason. I'm glad I was able to offer you some value there. Okay. All right. Good. Let's see what else here. I realize what time it is. But these are questions that people asked for today. So let's keep pushing. There's one more big one, I believe. All right. Cool. All right, so there are a few. All right, here we go. So Hamza told the story, and thank you, Hamza, for being so specific. It took you had to put up a wall of text inside the group. I know, but you were trying to be specific about what you were going through, and I appreciate that specificity. Specific questions get specific answers. I'm with it. Okay. The short summary is he asked the question, the problem I'm having is that the solution I'm trying to provide has me adding more and more. The solution I'm trying to provide has me adding more and more. To say that another way is the service I'm offering gets more and more bloated. I'm having to shove more stuff into it. And it's becoming non-functional. And so he gives a different number of situations, scenarios where he tries to help the client solve for A and they don't use it. He tries to help them solve for B and they don't like it. He tries to give them, he solves for C and they don't fully value it. Okay, so for Hamza, quickly, sir, you are solving for too many problems. If you look at your own writing inside the post there, those are 3 or 4 specifically different issues. One service cannot solve for these big block issues like that. No way. Shouldn't even try to do it. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, that dialogue that I'm seeing, right? Clients, in short, clients not fully valuing what you've done. You've done it. You delivered something good, but they don't fully value it. That means you didn't solve their problem. That means you sold them a service, and they bought it because it sounded cool. But you didn't actually solve the problem. You delivered a service. You delivered some digital marketing things. And that's one thing we do specifically inside the program. And so this is feeling good to you. There's a link somewhere up, down, left, right. You can click it. We can have a conversation to see if this program that I offer will solve your problem or not. I want to help you design a better agency. But one of the things we do specifically inside the program is we make sure that what you offer solves a tactical, practical, legitimate, you can point to it kind of problem. Not these conceptual, you should be doing web design. You should have a landing page. Your homepage should look different. You should have an email follow-up sequence. Those are all should haves, and they all sound clever and cute. And most often you're right. But that's not the problem inside the business. The person running the business has a different issue. And you've got to connect your digital marketing skills to the issue facing them. There's some genius in that. It ain't automatic. It ain't intuitive. There's some thinking you got to do to make sure that what you offer them solves a legitimate problem. And many times agency owners think they're solving a problem, but they're really just offering services. So it can get high level from here. But in short, you're focused on too many things. You're offering services that span too far. Number one. Number two is, as you interact with your clients, you aren't deliberate enough about what problem you're actually solving. And you have to do that. Otherwise, you'll end up with these same challenges. Okay. So David asked about doing some mock calls, some mock client meetings, some mock onboarding meetings, some mock sales calls, and we do that inside the program. So that's something we do inside the program. We're going to put a pin in that. I'm not quite sure if we want to use the Facebook Live for that particular thing, because you got to get prepared to do those kinds of things. So, but that's something we do inside the program. So if you know you need help with that, David or anybody else, click the link above. Let's talk about it and see if this program can help you take that next step forward. Jack asks about JV partners. See a lot about that, working with JV partners. So I'll say something similar to Jack that I've said. Hamza, I appreciate that, man. Love you back. So Jack asked about JV partners. Okay. Can JV partners work? Yes. But the response I'll give to Jack is a very similar response that I give to Nelson, which is, what is the value of having that JV partner or getting that JV partner? It's going to take you some effort to have to secure the partner. You got to go find them, say hello, be nice, interact, find some commonality, and then agree to some form of partnership. So in going through all of that, is it worth your effort? Bottom line. And if you're not sure it's worth your effort on the front end, do not bother. If you can't do the math and math doesn't make you smile on the front end, don't do it. Do something. Don't do it, man. Do something else. There's a lot more to that. But for the sake of being concrete for this moment, you're probably expecting your JV partner to send you business in some way. That's what you're expecting. You're expecting that your JV partner is going to send you some business. Does this prospective JV partner, do they have the ability to send you business? In other words, are they getting enough activity in their business to be able to send some your way? Can they even do it? 1, 2, are they open to doing it? Do they know how to do it? So they're getting activity in their business, but do they have any sort of way of referring work to you or partnering with you? Do they have any model for that? And if one of those two things breaks down, then it ends up being just a lot of clever talk. So hopefully that's helpful to you, Jack. In most cases, for most people, unless you have a JV partner kind of in your back pocket, someone you've known for a long time, someone who's has an obvious synergy, in most cases it's just better to keep doing your thing and do client acquisition your way. And if you don't know how to do that, I've got a couple of very good, clean, easy to execute methods inside the program. Help you plot them out, help you systemize them, etc. But you got to click the link so we can discuss it, so we can figure out if it works for you or not. Good people, we had a good call today. A lot of content today. I very much appreciate the dialogues that we've been having. I appreciate your attention on these Facebook Lives. This is good. I'm assuming this is good. I'm getting good response back. So we'll keep doing this. So I won't hold this any longer. It's been a pleasure doing these for you. Look forward to seeing you in the Facebook group if you aren't already. Talk to you soon.